Tony Abbott's time as Australian Prime Minister could be coming to an end, and soon. In just under an hour, his ruling Liberal Party is expected to meet to discuss a so-called spill motion, which, if passed, would declare the Prime Minister's position vacant. In Australia's Westminster system of Parliament, Abbott holds his job on the vote of his colleagues, lawmakers. The meeting to discuss the motion was originally scheduled for Tuesday, but Abbott announced he was moving it up a day.
The last thing Australia needs right now is instability and uncertainty. On reflection and after talking to my colleagues, I've decided that the best thing we can do is deal with the spill motion as quickly as possible and put it behind us.
It'll start in less than an hour. Joining us now to talk about all of this is CNN producer Joel Labi, who's following developments in his native Australia. Thanks for joining us. Can you walk us through what is about to unfold?
This is an extraordinary set of circumstances here, because this is the third time in 5 years that we're actually seeing this. In about 40 minutes, we'll have the members of the Liberal National Coalition Party going behind closed doors and essentially putting forward a no-confidence motion in the Prime Minister. So what this means is that the colleagues of the party will vote to decide whether to dissolve that leadership position. So there's a chance it might be over in 2 minutes because it doesn't have the numbers. However, if it does, this is where things get interesting, John, because we will see all the leadership positions dissolved and Tony Abbott will have to essentially reapply for his job. And that could backfire on him terribly if somebody puts their hand up and says, actually, I'm going to commit to this as well. And you may have a showdown there. It's happened twice already in the last few years, and this is a very dangerous position for the Prime Minister now.
It's also an odd one. He was re-elected, what, elected a year and a half ago, so this is not a government that is facing an immediate election. So why is this happening? And explain one particular aspect of it. Why is Britain's Prince Philip messed up in this mess?
Yeah, this is a really sad state of affairs in Australian politics that over the last few years, we saw this with the Labor Party with Kevin Rudd and Julia Gillard back in from 2009 onwards, that opinion polls started to dictate how a leader would be treated. And the problem is the Liberal Party was campaigning on this idea of mature government, grown-up government, where opinion polls wouldn't have any impact whatsoever. Unfortunately, they've fallen into that same trap. And Prince Philip, as you say, is a major issue there. This is on the back of a budget that was not sold very well, on the back of some promises by the Prime Minister, which he ended up breaking. And then on Australia Day, our equivalent of the 4th of July, essentially, is a day that you bestow honours upon people who've served society in a way that, that is fitting to that. He awarded Prince Philip, the husband of the Queen, a knighthood, which was an extraordinary thing to do when only a few weeks ago, when he was selling the budget, was telling the Australian public that I'm in touch with the real needs and concerns of Australian people. So this was something out of the blue. A lot of his colleagues reacted accordingly, and that's why the leadership spill has been brought on. Think of it as the cherry on top of a multitude of problems for the Liberal National Coalition.
So what do you think is going to happen at this meeting and beyond this meeting? I mean, this is not the first time, as you mentioned, that Australia has done this. How does a country, an affluent country, respected around the world, what cost does it have to pay for cannibalizing its own leaders?
Well, it's extraordinary in that, as you say, this has happened before. And regardless of what happens from here on end, Tony Abbott's leadership, many commentators are saying, is terminal. Because if he survives this leadership spill, then the rumblings that will continue for the months ahead will get louder and louder, and I'm almost certain that we will see another leadership spill within the next 6 to 12 months. It happened with Kevin Rudd, it happened with Julia Gillard. The precedent has been set already, and the sad part about it is that on an international level and even a national level, it makes Australia, a developed country with a democracy, look like a basket case. And people around the world are questioning how such a developed nation with a sophisticated economy can go through leaders like tissues. I mean, this is, as I say, the third in 5 years we could potentially have, and an extraordinary set of circumstances. In about 35 minutes, we'll see what's revealed behind closed doors.
Joel Labi, thanks very much for this.
Thank you.